Okay, so I wanted to do one more quick tutorial before the end of the day today on one of everyone in my class's favorite problems, multi-table VLOOKUPs. Now, this is not something that you find in many books, but it is definitely one of my personal favorites, and it is a really, really practical thing that you'll see in the real world. So let's just take a quick look at the problem we have from a business perspective, and then we'll talk about how to actually solve this problem. Okay, so here's what you got. You're looking at a table over here of sales reps, right? Their years of service, the amount that they've sold. Now, based on what they sell, they receive commission. Okay, their commission percentages are based on the number of years that they've been at the company as well as the amount that they've sold. So if you've worked at the company for 3 years or more, you then are eligible for for 3 years or less, you are eligible for the less or the smaller commission rate. And if you've been with the company for more than 3 years, then you get this bigger commission rate. So the problem is, you need a VLOOKUP, right? You can write a VLOOKUP function that'll look at this and look at this and then automatically pop that in. Well, that's really well and good, but the problem is because it's two different sets of tables, you can't just do one VLOOKUP. So you need to do something that I like to call a nested VLOOKUP or a multi-table VLOOKUP. And these can get really complicated. And there's actually two different ways to do them. You could do an if statement with two VLOOKUPs, right? An if statement with the VLOOKUP and the value of true and false. Or the way that I like to do this is an if statement with, a VLOOKUP function with an if statement to determine which table to use. All right, so here's what we're going to do here. We're going to jump in and we are going to start by writing a VLOOKUP like so. Okay, so when I start the VLOOKUP, the first thing it's going to ask me, well, it's going to say, well, what is my lookup value, right? Well, my lookup value is the value in cell C3. That's the easy part. Here comes the hard part. Well, the hard part is, well, where do I get my table that tells me what the commission rate is based on how much they've made in their years of service? Well, it depends on if they've worked for the company less than 3 years or more than 3 years. So when you have this kind of a situation, well, we're going to have to use an if statement to call the correct table. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of just typing in a reference, I'm going to start an if statement like so. And I'm going to say that if the years of service are less than or equal to 3 years of service, okay, if that is the case, then they get their commission based on this first table, which is table 1. And I'm going to absolute reference that. If that is not the case, then they get it based off of table 2. Okay, which is based off of 3 years or more years of service. All right, so table 1 is the value of true, table 2 is the value of false. So I'm going to close that if statement off, hit comma, and you'll see that IntelliSense just put me right back in the VLOOKUP. I'm right back where I needed to be. Okay, so what's my next step? Well, I'm going to hit a column index number of 2, right? Because the second column in both of the tables have the return values that you would like to use. All right, now I have that optional argument of approximate or exact, true or false. Well, in this case, we definitely would need to use approximate, which was also the default. However, it's okay to be thorough and go ahead and put that true in, because if we left it blank, it would have done true anyway, but that's okay with what we did. This is going to work out perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and close this off. Okay, I'm going to hit return, and it tells me, if I switch it into percentages, that I have a 2% commission rate for the first guy. Fill it down, add my extra decimal points, and voila, multi-table VLOOKUP. It's not that big of a mystery. Look forward to seeing you soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. I got many to come. Thanks.